Alright, today's review is going to be on Multiverse of Madness. I didn't deliver that the smoothest it could have been, but we're all human. Anyway, the plot of this movie is a 7.5. Um, the plot of this movie is multiverse mumbo jumbo. It's a little bit better in this movie than it is with No Way Home because that's Doctor Strange and America Chavez. It's multiverse driven characters, so it doesn't feel as forced, especially also with Wanda, another multiverse driven character. It's The multiverse is a plot device at the end of the day, but when characters are kind of like close to it and kind of halfway attached to it, it doesn't feel as forced as it does in movies like Spider-Man, which again, I know there's a whole argument about the web of life and destiny with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's traditionally not a multiversal character in my mind. So the plot in this movie, again, I think it kind of goes back to hearing that the creators of this movie, the people who wrote the script for this movie, didn't watch WandaVision. That is really what bugs me about this movie because Wanda was not at the stage, and you just kind of skip over that. And a lot of what's going on in the MCU is continuity based, and okay, well, from one movie or one show to a movie, it should connect in a meaningful way where I can notice that the characters is on the same arc, is on the same story. And even Elizabeth Olsen has voiced this, that she thinks there is a significant disconnect between where Wanda was at in WandaVision and where Wanda is at in Multiverse of Madness. And I agree, you can clearly tell that she turned straight up evil in this movie, and a lot of it is driven off of, well, women be emotional, right? And I'm not I don't really like that. The whole idea of just because she's a mom and she wants to care for her children, she's going. It's not consistent with her character to put America Chavez in danger and for her to view the solution as I'm going to hurt and kill as many people as I need to get to an alternate reality where I can have kids. I don't think that's consistent with Wanda's character at all. In this movie, I think does a pretty bad job of that. Now, Doctor Strange's reaction to it, in America Chavez's reaction to it, as the plot goes, they do a fine job reacting to it. That's the main thing. Is it's pretty much like a horror flick in a way. It's almost like Jason's chasing them. Is kind of the way that this movie feels at times. It's, oh shit, Scarlet Witch is coming. And I feel like that element of the movie is interesting, but when you know the disconnect between the Scarlet Witch's character and WandaVision, and here, it just takes away from it a little bit. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the dialogue. Especially, I think Christine Palmer's dialogue in this movie is weak. Benedict Cumberbatch, it is one of the most goofy lines ever spoken in MCU history. The Illuminati will see you now, says Baron Mordo. What does Doctor Strange say? The Illuma-whatty? Doctor Strange says the Illuma-whatty? The Illuma-whatty. The Illuma-whatty. Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? I can't stand it. It's cringe. Cringe. Anyway, acting 7.7. I realize I didn't say much outside of that for the dialogue. It's multiversal mumbo jumbo. I don't want to spend too long on it. Acting 7.7. Benedict Cumberbatch tries to add emotion to it, but ultimately the winner of this movie is Elizabeth Olsen. And Xochitl Gomez, I feel like she was obviously, I think she was like 16 at the time of making this movie. I feel like generally younger actors don't really have great line delivery, and in this movie you can kind of tell that a little bit. Sometimes it feels like there's a little bit of extra space in her dialogue where it ends too quick or it's too dramatic, and I think that'll generally get better as she develops her acting skills. But in this movie, I just feel like since she's early on into her career, she's not the best in the movie. That's Benedict Wong. Shout out my boy Benedict Wong. The Illuminati, they're barely in the movie, but this is a movie that everybody was like, John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic. And then they saw John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic, and they said, you could maybe go another way. And that should let you know all you need to know about the acting in this movie. It's just a little weird, a little weird. Going back to the dialogue, people have a problem with Mr. Fantastic in this movie saying Black Bolt can destroy you with one blast from his mouth, and then she goes, "What mouth?" I think the "what mouth" line is great. Some people think that Mr. Fantastic, smartest man in the world, letting Wanda know what Black Bolt's ability is out of character, and to be honest, it is. But I think ultimately the "what mouth" line we get from it, I can definitely excuse it because I think that "what mouth" line is maybe Wanda's best line, if I'm being honest, in the MCU. I think it's great. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to cinematography. Cinematography in this movie. Now, I need to preface this with why I have this rating here. I have this rating here because the action in this movie looks very good. The VFX in this movie, shout out Sam Raimi because it's the one thing he can do. Because the dialogue and the plot in a lot of his movies are a little weak. I know I'm going to get hate from Sam Raimi fanboys on that. The reason why those original movies were good, the Spider-Man movies, is because it's Spider-Man. It's not because the plot and dialogue were great. The first movie is about as good as it gets for those movies, and then it really tails off. So again, semi-relevant because Sam Raimi involved. But in those movies, the reason why I wanted to reference them is they look good visually. And mainly at the time with the VFX that they were working with back in the like close to around the 2010s, I think it was like 20 like 2000 what 2007 I think around that time. Let me look this up so I'm not bullshitting. Spider-Man 1 2002, okay, and then when did Spider-Man 3 come out? 2007. Yeah, so actually a lot earlier than I thought it was. They did a really good job with the VFX in those movies. So let me go ahead and reveal what I'm talking about here. I gave this movie a 9 on its cinematography or visuals because VFX wise, they nail every effect that they're going for. Even the supernatural stuff that they try with Wanda, it's very good. The sinister, strange look, and the like kind of broken down Sanctum Sanctorum. I think that looks really good. The battle that they have with the music off the music sheets is a very interesting concept that again looks visually appealing. The only scene in this movie that does not look that great is the fight with the Illuminati. And the fight with the Illuminati in this movie doesn't look good because, again, they are trying to hide the cameos. And I think, honestly, it's a lesson that Marvel needs to go ahead and learn. Quit doing that. Quit hiding the cameos. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying that you have to show them in the trailers. What I'm saying is they are filming these movies in significantly different ways to the point where the overall outcome looks a lot worse than it should. And I think it takes away from the moment when in Spider-Man No Way Home, the scenes I'm seeing are clearly mainly CGI, and dark and gray. And I think the same thing goes for this movie with the Illuminati scene. And I think in some of the Avengers movies, it's been the case too. Stop hiding the I think they're so worried about it leaking pre the movie coming out, and it's only going to motivate people to go even more. And if people can just successfully avoid spoilers, or if they can successfully, prevent them from leaking, I would be a lot more worried about how it looks on the screen than people knowing before it. That's kind of my opinion on that. But yeah, anyway, that was really the only bad looking scene in this movie, so I don't want to get too heavy on that, but yeah, I think that it could have been a very interesting visual scene if they hadn't tried to hide the fact that the Illuminati was in this movie. Soundtrack 8-1. To be honest, it's been a while since I've watched this. It's been probably 3 to 4 weeks now. I don't really remember a lot about it. I remember that it's not as good as the original Doctor Strange soundtrack, but I think it's not obviously not too bad. I do remember it's kind of got like a horror adventure, which is a weird combo, but it's got like a horror adventure soundtrack. I believe that Wanda's soundtracks, like the horror type music that they play when she's on screen, I do think it does a good job in getting the vibe across. But yeah, that's it for the soundtrack. Let me go ahead and get into the bonus categories, and then I'll do the total rating. The comedy in this movie is a 7.4. Again, they attempt a lot, especially with America Chavez, and it doesn't land. Illumawati doesn't land. Like, a lot doesn't land as far as comedy goes. Getting a below average grade for comedy is pretty tough to do, honestly. World building, I give it an 8.3 because ultimately, at the end of the day, it does extend the multiverse as a concept, and it does kind of add characters that could be called back in the future, and it also it heavily affects several potential big players in the MCU with Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch slash Wanda, and America Chavez. So yeah, characters I gave it a 8-1. Again, Doctor Strange is a good character in these movies. I feel like he was better in the original Doctor Strange than he was in this movie. Shout out my boy Wong. Shout out Scarlet Witch. And Mordo is a little weird in this movie. I'm not a huge fan of Mordo, but anyway, let's go ahead and get on to the action. The action I have at an 8-8. I think the opening scene with the monster in New York when it's chasing America Chavez looks really good. I think Wanda attacking Kamar-Taj looks really good. I think ultimately at Woundagore Mountain at the end of the movie, I feel like that scene could look better. I don't like the concept of Doctor Strange. I believe what was it, soul walking? What did they call it? Dream walking, I think maybe dream walking. I don't like the idea of him dream walking into a corpse and then having like the like souls like turn into like a like wing set. I feel like that just got really. It was like that was in the writers' room, and everybody for some reason was just high that day and was like, "That'd be really cool, dude." And that ended up being the finale. So shout out a lot of the action in this movie, but I think the ending is a little weird. I really like the horror elements of this movie. But yeah, let's go ahead and get the total rating up here. The total rating is a 7-8. Again, I think this movie it tries a lot and it does hit some of those things, but the ultimate disconnect between Scarlet Witch's character to me, it really limits this movie's potential upside because the characters to me do not feel like they're acting as if, or not acting as if, but acting how they should be. They feel like they are. Honestly, they should have just used a different Wanda, maybe. I think that might have been better. So you don't have to kill off MCU Wanda. You could have just said, okay, this is another Scarlet Witch, and then it makes sense why she's, that angry. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know what you guys think of my review of this movie. Let me know what you guys think about the movie itself. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace.